Today in Turn 4, veteran Winston Cup driver Bobby Hamilton talks about his recovery from a grinding crash at Richmond 3 weeks ago. When will he be back?
I said, I've got a broke right shoulder and a broke left wrist. He said, oh, no, you don't. You couldn't even got out if you was like that. I said, I've got a broke shoulder and a broke left wrist, I can promise you.
Steve Wrigley takes us on a nostalgic tour of the history of the Fairgrounds Speedway. Plus, racing analyst Norman Parton dissects Sterling Marlin's beef with NASCAR. And we'll set the stage for the Kansas 400, all today in Turn 4. Well, welcome to Turn 4 here at the Nashville Super Speedway. They raced at Dover last week. Norman Parton, my racing partner, raced at Dover. Same company owns them. Same kind of a concrete track, isn't it?
That's right. The concrete is built for durability, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't wear like asphalt does. So once you pretty much concrete a track, you're done with it once you get it right. And that's what they've done here.
Now, that was part of it. In fact, let's mention that for a second. I think the hopes to get a Winston Cup race here, there was some talk that Dover might have to give up one of their races over there to get a Winston Cup.
I don't think that's going to happen. That is a very successful racetrack up there. They bring in thousands of people from up north, even New York, Philadelphia, all that area up there. Do a great job, and I think they're solid there. It's maybe Pocono might be giving up one that we might get here.
All right, now let's get to the race itself. Last week, before we got a good show with a lot of things to touch on, but Sterling lost the points. Bobby Hamilton was involved in a truck wreck 3 weeks ago at Richmond, went up into the wall, hit it hard, broke his collarbone and also a wrist. So he's missed 3 races since then, trying to heal as best he can. It's been very frustrating for him, hoping he could get back into the car before the end of the year, and he needs to. But Bobby trying to work his way through it, and we just got a chance to talk to him the other day.
1 week ago, I couldn't even lift this elbow off my side because of my shoulder being broke. And then 5 days ago, if I bent my arm like this, I had enough strength to lift my arm. And in the last 2 days, now I can raise my arm up, reach back there and scratch my back and everything.
Wow, hard contact with Bobby Hamilton.
When I hit the fence, it opened my seat up. The seats are designed to give X amount, and it opened my seat up about 11 inches. So I'm just flopping around in there. I'm real loose in there. I get hit, and I'm loose in that seat. This part of my body stopped. The top kept going, which broke my shoulder. And where I was holding on the steering wheel, it broke my wrist. It just opened it all up. And then so all of a sudden, I don't have anything to hold myself again. And then when I get hit in the right side, my body just flies out. Right here is what absorbed all the energy here. You hit the frame rail, and that virtually holds everything together. And it hit so hard, and actually it busted. We've never seen a top buckle on a truck. So that's how much it gave. But as far as speaking for my race team, I think they're pretty enthusiastic to get me back right now because they keep getting a lot of stuff tore up. Greg has done an excellent job for us. He's been real fast, but Greg wants to win. And a Winston Cup car right now, and it's hard on us because we keep getting cars tore up and sides knocked off and things like that. And he's starting to figure it out, though. He called Jimmy yesterday and said, you know, the funny thing about Winston Cup racing, them guys, you'll outrun them all day, and about 100 to go, they all pass you. They don't race about the last 100 miles of the race, where he's used to racing 200 miles. Them guys used to racing 500, so I think he's starting to catch on. But my guys, they've took and held back about 3 of my better cars, my favorite cars that I like, and they've been letting Greg run some of the other stuff. And we're all enthusiastic definitely about getting back to Martinsville because we're so good there. The reason I want to back it on up to Charlotte, I think, is to make sure that I'm at 100%. You know, you sit out, and I've been working out and things like that, but you don't get 100% workout like we get in them cars, getting the steering wheel all wrapped up in them and the G-loads you get and things like that. So I've got a job to do, and I still feel like I can win a race for Andy Petrie and Snyder Electric.
Hamilton wins. Sterling gives way.
We've heard people say it all the time. You've got to lose one to learn how to win one. And this is the first time Sterling has ever been this close. I hope he gets it. It'll make me happy because he's probably one of my best friends in racing. And another thing, I think the sport needs to be brought back to our culture a little bit. And there's nobody better than Sterling Marlin to carry the Southern culture.
Norman Parton, you can bleed for Bobby. It's just tough when you're banged up that way to try to race.
Well, we talk about football players playing hurt, but these guys have to get out there, and once you start, you have to finish. You know, you have to get a relief driver if you can't make it, but these guys go to the track, broken bones, cast, you think they need to be in a hospital, and they drive the race car. These guys are tough.
And the reason for Greg Biffle's now filled in, but he can only drive a few races.
Well, he wants to run for Rookie of the Year next year and protect his rookie status. He can only only run so many races, so they're going to go up to that point and then stop, and somebody else will have to drive, or Bobby's going to have to get back in the car because Greg Biffle wants to be Rookie of the Year next year. He's got to protect that stamp.
All these little things going on. When we talked to Bobby, he was at the Nashville Speedway, the old Fairgrounds Speedway, to be accurate on it. It has a wonderful history. I've watched it now for 30 years, Norman way before that. When we come back, Steve Wrigley will give us a history with some fascinating old pictures that you'll love and get a chance to look at from the old Fairgrounds Speedway when we return in Turn 4.
When I got here, I found out why he gave me the ticket. That was when the grandstand was wooden, big old wooden grandstand, and I was sitting right behind one of the big wooden posts. That's how come the guy gave me the ticket.
Welcome back to Turn 4. We've been reminiscing, we always do. The first Winston Cup race I ever saw was at the old Fairgrounds Speedway.
Absolutely. History.
History. When was the first time you went there, though, and saw any kind of a race? How old were you?
1960, I was 6 years old. 6 years, and it was hooked from that day. I grew up a block from the Speedway, could hear it all night, every Saturday night, and the noise drew me to it, and parents started taking me when I was about 6 years old, and I've been hooked ever since.
People don't understand what I tell them. There's a smell around it. What are you talking about? There's a smell. It's the rubber, it's the oil, it's the grease, it's all of that. That's wonderful.
Well, what is neat is that track built this, basically, getting it here. But what is so neat about that place is it's home to me. It's like my old high school. It's like the old church that you grew up in. That place is home to me. When I'm dead and buried, they're going to put me right in the middle of that place.
All right, well, we're going to give you some homecoming right here. Steve Wrigley spent some time with some wonderful old pictures. And here's a great story to help us all reminisce the old Fairgrounds Speedway. The Fairgrounds Speedway inducted their first Hall of Fame class last month. Darrell Waltrip, Cuckoo Marlin, Fluky Buford, son Joe, and the family of the late Andy Kirby were the honorees.
It's a great honor. Darrell Waltrip set a great record for somebody to break. I'm setting a record for somebody else to break. Hopefully we can keep NASCAR around here for years to come and keep racing here. This Speedway's got a lot of history.
A rich history indeed. This picture from 1965 shows the grandstand 2 weeks before it burned to the ground. This aerial shot is from 1966. The Speedway was a playground for Tommy Marchman. His dad, Fred, took these photos and passed along a love for racing and the fairgrounds.
Back then, you had to be 16 years old to get into the pits. So Mr. Donahoe, the track promoter, allowed me to get into pits when I was 13. So according to NASCAR paperwork, I was 16 for 3 years.
How's this for a father-son moment? Sterling is third all-time at the fairgrounds with 51 wins, including 9 straight in 1981. Things got hot at the end of the Nashville 420 when Cale Yarborough was declared the winner ahead of Bobby Allison, who to this day still thinks he won that race. This old track is where DW took the first of his 84 trips to Victory Lane in a Winston Cup car. Waltrip remembers his first visit to the fairgrounds almost 40 years ago, but he had no way of knowing then that the fairgrounds would be his ticket to the big time.
That was in 1965, and a friend at home had given me a ticket. I rode down with some other guys. When I got here, I found out why he gave me the ticket. That was when the grandstand was wooden, big old wooden grandstand, and I was sitting right behind one of the big wooden posts. That's how come the guy gave me the ticket. But it was an exciting night. Cars caught on fire. They flipped upside down over into turn 3.
This film from 1961 shows a battle between Red Farmer, Cuckoo, Bobby Allison, and L.J. Hampton.
Yeah, watch Red Farmer in the F97. And that's Cuckoo in the 711, and L.J. Hampton in the 97. Red, something broke on his car, I believe, and he got in the wall and just took everybody with him. And that's Bobby Allison's car there, the 312.
It's been a long love affair between man, woman, and machine. The Fairgrounds Speedway, a sponsor of racing for nearly a century in Nashville. For Turn 4, I'm Steve Wrigley. Boy, it's fun to look at those old pictures. Let me ask you something. What do you recall, a couple of 1, 2, maybe 3 of the best moments that you've had at the track?
The one.
The one?
The one.
Start of one.
When they built the big banks down there, this young kid from Kentucky named Darrell Waltrip, you know, he come down to Tennessee. He's going to win all the money, win all the races. And they ran the first 300-lapper to open the season. He did not win. He comes back
when they had the real high banks.
This is 35-degree banks. Yeah. And I mean, they're moving. These guys are
100.
moving. Darrell comes down, he says, I'm going to win the race next Saturday night, and I'm going to pass for the lead on lap 15. And
That's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean, here's all this hair, you know, he's bragging, he's carrying on, he says this is what he's going to do. Sure enough, he does it. He passes Bunky Blackburn. He leads. They're coming around, he's led the rest of the race, coming around to the checker flag.
Yeah.
They come off the fourth turn, there's a lap car. Darrell goes high, Bunky Blackburn goes low, they split him, and they hit, and they end up wrecking and hitting the wall in the infield. Darrell crossed the finish line backwards. He's sideways, and needless to say, after that, a little scuffle ensued. And I was standing on the wall, and here they come off the turn, and I had to move. I thought they was going to run over me. But that has to be the best finish that there ever was. Darrell won the race, backwards, sideways, everything but upside down.
Oh,
great moment at the Speedway.
I think my highlight was seeing Darrell win his first Winston Cup race there. That night was exciting for him.
Absolutely.
So great memories at the Fairgrounds Speedway. What we'll do now is we'll take a break. When we come back, Norman and I will preview the race you're about to see here on NBC. They're in Kansas City. A lot to talk about in just a moment. Time to name our Town and Country Ford Driver of the Week. That honor goes to Mark Martin, who finished second in Sunday's race at Dover and solidified his hold on the Winston Cup points lead. Mark Martin, still trying to win his first ever Winston Cup championship, is our Town and Country Ford Driver of the Week.